listening to the Divorce and Your Money Show, the #1 podcast that discusses the complex business of divorce. I'm your host, Sean Lehman, MBA and Certified Divorce Financial Analyst. You can visit us at divorceandyourmoney.com. In this episode, I want to discuss 5 signs that your attorney is not doing a good job for you. And when you listen to these signs, you should think really long and hard about ways to improve the relationship with your attorney, or in the extreme case, if you need to make a change. Changing attorneys is not at the top of my list, but hopefully you can find workarounds to deal with some of these issues. Look, no attorney's perfect. Attorneys are humans too. And sometimes I end up having to deal with some pretty poor attorneys, particularly if you just unfortunately picked the wrong one for your situation. They can end up doing a lot of harm. And I want to make sure that you avoid some of the issues that I'm going to bring up in here. Now, there's also a lot of great attorneys, and if you have one that you really like and get along with and are getting good results, then more power to you. But I want to talk about the downside and some behavior that I consider unacceptable from a potential attorney. This is one of the toughest periods of your life, and your attorney is likely the quarterback of this situation, to borrow a term from football. So I want you to watch out for these 5 things. I'm going to dig into each one of them in depth. The first is your attorney doesn't return phone calls or emails. Second, your attorney doesn't tell you what's going on. Third is your attorney bills irregularly. Fourth is your attorney is not prepared for important dates. And fifth is your attorney does not advocate for you. Let's jump in to each of these just to give you a little bit of a taste and some signs that you should be watching out for. The first is one of my biggest pet peeves of all, and one of the biggest frustrations, and that's number 1, when your attorney does not return your phone calls or emails in a timely fashion. Sometimes after you pay the retainer, your attorney will disappear or be really slow to respond. I know people who call their attorney every other day for 2 weeks before they get a 2-second response back about an important issue, and that's unacceptable. Your attorney should be responding to you ideally within a few hours, and if they're in court for that day or something's going on, within 24 hours at the absolute latest, unless, of course, they're on vacation. But most of the time, even then, they should be returning your emails. This is your life at stake and one of the biggest and toughest times of your life. And so you need someone to respond to your inquiries. The second is your attorney doesn't tell you what's going on. This one's pretty simple. Well, if your attorney's not telling you what's going on in your case, if they received correspondence from your spouse's attorney or from your spouse directly, and they don't forward that along to you in terms of what was said or what's going on, or if a court date was set or not set, or if you're waiting on something, your attorney should be keeping you updated on all of these things at a minimum on a weekly basis if there's something that you should be expecting, and sometimes on a daily basis if there's things going on very soon or coming up very soon. Number 3 is your attorney bills irregularly. After you pay the retainer, for some of you it's going to be $3,000, $5,000, $10,000, and sometimes more. You should start receiving regular bills from your attorney indicating how much of that retainer you have used and how they used that time on the retainer. So you should be getting every few weeks a statement that says, hey, there was an hour and a half spent at $400 an hour. So you spent $600 of your $5,000 retainer on these different items, and they should make sense to you. You shouldn't go by where, a month goes by or 2 months goes by, and all of a sudden you get a bill that says, oh, not only have we used all of your retainer, but also you owe us an extra $500 for these services that haven't been completed. So if your attorney is billing irregularly or there's things that are funny about the bill, you need to bring those up as soon as possible. Number 4 is your attorney needs to be prepared. If there is a big deadline or appointment coming up, meaning if you're about to enter mediation, if you're about to go to court, if you're about to walk into a room for a settlement negotiation, your attorney better be prepared about all the facts on your case, what you should be expecting, what they're going to be fighting for, and what's less important. All of these things should be essential. I know attorneys, and I've seen this, and it's crazy to me. It's mind-blowing. I had a client recently who was preparing for mediation, and the attorney, who was a new attorney to this person's case, wanted to show up 1 hour before the mediation to do all the preparation for that mediation session. This was their first appointment together in general, and they had just started handling the case. And they thought that 1 hour was enough to not only just learn the facts of the case, but also to prepare for a productive mediation session in which all of the issues in the divorce could be resolved. And this person clearly had not done their homework. And my client was, of course, very scared. But fortunately, we were able on our sessions to prepare in advance for a lot of those issues, meaning the two of us, without the attorney, prepared a lot of research and data and helped this person prepare for the mediation session. So even though their attorney didn't know much, you, in this case, knew a lot and was able to have a very productive session and things worked out well. But you want your attorney to know what's going on and seem prepared in the room wherever you are and to be prepared for your case. This is your life, and these types of lapses are not acceptable. And then the fifth is when your attorney doesn't advocate for you. Understand this, is you are paying your attorney a lot of money to resolve one of the toughest times in your life. And because you're paying this attorney, they're supposed to fight for what is in your best interest. Sometimes attorneys just don't advocate for you, or you feel like they're not advocating for you. Or it could be the case that they might be intimidated by your spouse's attorney, for instance. None of these are acceptable situations for your divorce. You want to make sure that your attorney is fighting to get you the best deal possible. When I say fighting, I don't necessarily mean creating unnecessary conflict, but they should be advocating for you to get the best deal possible, because once you sign those settlement papers, you are going to be done with it. And if you haven't gotten as much as you can during this process, you are going to end up regretting things for the rest of your life. So I want you to watch out for those 5 things. The first is your attorney doesn't return phone calls or emails. Second is your attorney doesn't tell you what's going on. Third is your attorney bills irregularly. Fourth is your attorney is not prepared. And finally, fifth is your attorney doesn't advocate for you. Don't let this happen to you. These are very important things that your attorney should be on top of. And this is your life at stake, not my life, not your friend's life, not your attorney's life. This is your life and your divorce. And so if you're not prepared and you're not understanding what's going on, you can end up in a very bad situation for the future if you don't take care of some of these issues today. Now, before you go, I want to make sure you get some really important information. All you have to do is go to divorceandyourmoney.com. The first thing you do on the website is sign up for the email list. You'll see a little box that says get updates and tips, and I will send you exclusive articles and content that you won't find anywhere else. And it goes directly to you, and it's a great way to reach me and ask me your questions. Second, on the coaching page at divorceandyourmoney.com, you can learn about our personalized coaching services. And here's the reality. Many of you are making financial mistakes or not getting all that you deserve as part of the divorce process. Or maybe you're just having a hard time making sense of it all and making rational decisions during this emotional time. And look, your divorce attorney is good. It's great to have a divorce attorney, but divorce attorneys are not really financial experts. And so ask yourself a simple question. Did your attorney, if you have one, explain some of the details that we just talked about in this episode? The financial issues in divorce can be really complicated, and that's why there's over 100 episodes of information, hours and hours and hours of information just related to the complex financial things that you need to be thinking about as you get divorced. And one of the big questions you might have if you've been listening to the podcast or read the book, Divorce and Your Money, the No-Nonsense Guide, or have been reading the articles that I send just to the email listeners, you might be asking, well, how does this apply to me? how does this apply to my situation and my divorce and what's going on in my life? Well, the only way to really find out and the only way I can help you in your specific situation is through the personalized coaching sessions. And I get to work with you across the United States, from California to New York and everywhere in between, in person, by phone, and by email, depending upon what you need. And all you have to do to start getting help is go to divorceandyourmoney.com/coaching. You'll see some videos there, and you just fill out a short form, answer a few questions, and we will set up a complimentary introductory call. Here's the deal, is once you sign that divorce settlement, there's no going back. So the sooner you get help, the better. Finally, subscribe to the podcast and make sure you automatically get updates with all the new episodes that are coming out. And leave a review. A 5-star review on iTunes really helps other people discover this show. I'm your host, Sean Lehman, MBA and Certified Divorce Financial Analyst. Thank you for listening.